If there's one type of meeting you should not cancel every week, it's your one-to-ones. Gallup research found that employees who had regular one-to-ones with their manager are 3 times more likely to be engaged employees. It's 3 times. That's not because there's some sort of magic to one-to-ones, but it is where trust is built and where problems get brought up early before they become crises. And it's also the best opportunity for them to get some advice from you, or where you can offer feedback for growth and development and help them to get better at their job, which is great for them. It's also kind of great for you that they get all those things out of them. But there is also a lot to one-to-ones that you can get out of. So you can find out what's happening with them, right? And if they're a high performer, you want to kind of keep an eye on what's going on with them. Are they happy? Are they doing well? What's going on with the team that they work in? How are they interacting with other teams? Any customer information, they're probably talking to customers more than you are, some of them, so you're getting that insight from what's going on in the marketplace. But also, it's an opportunity for you and for them to kind of bat around any unformed ideas of how things could be better that might not be ready or fully formed for an exec meeting or even a team meeting. But just you can flesh out some of the issues that might come up in those sort of meetings, and make sure that when you do, it's a better formed idea than just oh, maybe we should do this. So it's quite simple, really, that your one-to-ones are your most important, highest leverage meeting that you have in the week. The issue is that most people are either not having them consistently or they're completely wasting them. And that could be a lot of meetings that you're not getting the best out of. Because nearly half of your conversations, if you're an organization that does regular one-to-ones, are one-to-ones, and you get zero training, zero support on how actually to run them effectively. That means that they often just become status updates of what are you working on at the moment, any blockers, cool, see you next week. That's not a development conversation or innovative chat about how we can make things better. That's a project management tool with a face. And there's also lots of advice out there which isn't actually quite right. There's a really big stress on, they should talk 90% of the time and you should only do 10% of the talking. And I don't think that's a bad principle. It is their meeting, and you should always bear that in mind. However, a really recent study of 1,300 employees across multiple industries kind of found the opposite. That the highest motivated employees were the ones that had one-to-ones, where it's kind of equal measure between the employee and the manager. And that's because, like, actually doing the full-on coaching chat where you're asking lots of questions either feels kind of performative, but I always found it personally to be kind of not that natural. So while I used to try and not to speak because my tendency is to talk too much, I used to try and take a step back and ask more questions. But actually, I couldn't do the 90-10 thing. It just didn't work. Well, that's what a lot of the advice out there says. But actually, what they found in this recent study is that people want to be heard, right? But they also want guidance and advice and help from their manager. So there's one thing that you really need to think about when it comes to one-to-ones and have in mind all the time. And one thing I want you to take away from this whole thing is it's their meeting, not yours, but with a small caveat of you still need to get out of it what you want. And there is a real tension there. Obviously, you've delegated some stuff. People are responsible for certain tasks and probably making decisions on certain things without you needing to be involved. But you still need to be what I call eyes on, hands off, right? And that is that you are still got an eye of what's going on, but you're not involved in it. And your one-to-ones are your best vehicle for finding out and making sure you have still got those eyes on. And the reason you need that is because if something goes really wrong with something, whether a task that your team does or a project they're working on, and actually you not need to be involved in it, if something goes wrong, your CEO is asking what's happening. You don't know because, oh well, I've left it to them. It was still your responsibility, and that's just not the way to manage, right? You've still got to have that, and your one-to-ones are your best way to keep on top of what's going on. So there is an art to this, right? Of this, it's their meeting, but you still need to get out of it what you want. And there's a couple of things to bear in mind and to think about when you're doing that, and that's around your coaching and around your prep. And there's also a 3-stage structure to the one-to-one that you should stick with. And it starts with their agenda, right? And by asking what's on your mind. Such an important place to start. it can kind of go anywhere, right? But it's usually going to end up as something real. And then come your kind of coaching questions, but also your additional, like, anything else on your mind? What else is going on with you? Your coaching questions, I've got some ideas in here of what you could ask. You've got to find ones that are natural to you, because a lot of coaching questions you get on LinkedIn or ChatGPT are very sort of Americanized or corporate, and it might not feel natural. So you need to find kind of questions that you can use that feel natural to you to help you dig a little bit deeper, because the point is not so that they just keep coming to you to solve their problems, right? Yes, you want to give them help and guidance, but you also, the coaching element is still key, and getting that balance right is really important to make sure that those one-to-ones are successful. And the final bit, the third bit, is your bit, right? So I used to just have a list for each of my one-to-ones of things I wanted to find out. Now, what's great is if you've started with what's on your mind and you keep on asking them, and then they actually give you those updates and you haven't even had to ask them, right? So the meeting has completely been their agenda, but you've still got what you needed. If, for instance, there is actually a couple of things that they didn't talk about, great, that's fine. If that gap is quite big, that suggests there's a bit of an alignment issue. They're talking about the things that are different to what you kind of care about. So you need to fix that. Maybe not in that meeting, but maybe a different one. It might be that you've just come from a board meeting and actually something in the strategy or the plan has changed, and actually it means that what you've got them working on isn't quite aligned with what the business wants to do now. You need to fix that. So it's a good test for that alignment as well. So here's your Monday action. Use this 3-step structure. This is your structure for your week in, week out one-to-ones. It's dead simple. And trust me, if you start with the premise of it's their meeting and you ask them what's on their mind, you're going to get so much information, but also make sure you get out of it what you need to.